current events in there. The creators of South Park do seem to be pretty anti-AI, I would say. Earlier in the season, they had one that I would say negatively portrayed ChatGPT. I think that they have a problem with OpenAI in general. And then the latest one, they had a lot of Sora 2 jokes in there. And then I didn't realize that, so I guess Sora 2, part of the reason, or the, and I don't know if you say it, impetus for that. I wonder if I'm using that word right. I guess people were using Sora 2 to generate clips of South Park, entire episodes of South Park, and then posting them online, and people were getting fooled into thinking that those were new episodes or something like that. And so then now Sora 2 is banning people from creating South Park content on Sora 2, which is interesting on, I guess, a few different levels. One, if you think about it, South Park is very simple to create, right? I guess like writing wise, creativity wise, it's probably more complex, and that was always sort of the point of South Park, right? Is that it was visually fairly simple, but then I guess you'd say humor or conceptually wise, more high concept, but then it was like perfect for something for people to recreate with AI. And like what that means for creating content in the world of AI, where, if you are going to make something that is just very visually simple, then that makes it the easiest for AI to reproduce, right? Whereas, but then even, when was it? I think it was when OpenAI's image generator, the newest version of it, it's not that new, it's like months old, but people were making I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, Ghibli images. And that was also, I guess, that's right, that was also part of the South Park episode that they recently had. And so even though those are more complex in a way, but people weren't doing full animations with them, but this just sort of changes or is probably going to affect the way that people create content, for better or worse, because it makes it either easier or more difficult for AI to reproduce it. So that's one possible concept from this. And then also, that Sora is banning South Park specifically, right? Where, then who's next? Somebody else, some other channel, TV show, copyrighted material is going to get a lot of content that comes out of Sora 2 or other, generators, and then they're banning that one. It's like sort of one at a time. Whereas it's like, well, probably you're just going to keep getting into trouble if it's like, what if Disney's next? Yeah, like people just keep creating, Mickey Mouse videos. I guess nobody really cares about Mickey Mouse, but like Frozen, right? Frozen is probably one of their properties people care about a lot. Yeah, they're just generating all this Frozen content. Now that's banned, right? And so I'm wondering if, we've talked about this before, the laws are not very well set up or figured out. And I do think there is the phrase, ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And I think that that's what AI is going to do. A lot of these AI companies are going to use that as their philosophy for a while. It's like, we'll just ask for forgiveness instead of permission. However, sometimes that forgiveness comes in the form of like multiple billions of dollars. So we'll see how well that works for the long run. And then Gemini Gems, I guess, so like Google has been just releasing a bunch of different AI stuff recently. I have not checked out Gemini Gems. I think it's an agentic tool of some sort. I think supposedly it's supposed to make your productivity go faster, as with all the AI. If anybody is really in the Gemini ecosphere, and they tried out Gems or are interested in trying out Gems, let me know. Maybe we can use that for a Tuesday coaching call. Just checking out Gems, if anybody thinks it's worthwhile or got any value out of it. I've been more in the Gemini, I guess, ecosystem lately, partially because of Nano Banana. Nano Banana is pretty awesome. Although I keep on seeing like, you can use Nano Banana for free, either in like AI Studio or through their Vertex, and it doesn't seem to be true. Or it's like you get to use it for free like once a day. It's like, that's not really feasible. If anybody else has been getting good success using Nano Banana for free through AI Studio or Vertex, let me know, because like that has not been my and I tried a variety of different ways. I was like, this does not seem to be free. You hit the quota very, very quickly. So I guess it's technically free. But then if you're in, and this might be it, like I know that if you're in Vertex, if you're in AI Studio, then you get to make a bunch of stuff for free. I think that's what they're saying. But then doing API calls is less than free or more than free. And then potentially, I don't know if it's been announced yet, the AI is going to be named Person of the Year by Time Magazine, which, they do things like that, I think, just to get headlines to be sensational. Should it be Person of the Year? That doesn't even make sense, really. I could almost, if you wanted to say, like, ChatGPT was Person of the Year, but, like, all of AI, that's like saying, I think maybe they did it one year that, like, they said that, like, you're Person of the Year. It's like, all right, sure. I don't know if you should even be having Person of the Year if you're just going to do things like that. AI is going to be Person of the Year. Potentially, and then we'll see. That's just going to make people more upset with it, I'm guessing. Okay, today is Q&A day, and I also see we have either a bunch of new people or people who have not been on in a while. I am looking at, let me see. We have Brennan Lee, we have Chris Smith, Eric L., Gary Harford, James Deloney, Keith Brostree. I did that wrong. Sorry, Keith. Michael T, Steve Dorrington, and then another one I'm going to mispronounce, Sojoy Guha. Are all of you, and then, well, no, Russell is not. Russell's been around for the past week. Steve is totally new. Brendan is totally new. If anybody I called out isn't new, okay, yes, we have a boardroom virgin. Okay, we're getting cherries popped today. Let's get into it. So if you're new, I am going to ask you to introduce yourself, tell me what brought you to AI Profit Boardroom, and what is your inspiration for being here. Try to think, like, is there specific AI or use cases that you want to use? And then, because today is Q&A day, if you do have a question when you are introducing yourself, that's a great time to ask a question. So that we can get some questions out there. But okay, so, and then you can throw something in the chat or you can turn on your mic. I'm going to go through, based on what I'm seeing in the chat already, Steve, who looks a little bit like Shrek, I would say, in his avatar. Steve, do you want to, I use Notebook LM and Perplexity to create training. Oh, that's interesting. Is there anything that we can specifically help you with or that you're interested in getting? I've been thinking about doing a Notebook LM Tuesday coaching call, and the thing is that I wish maybe we need to have like the Tuesday coaching calls be a little bit more regular, like taking over the Fridays. Also, there's so many different topics I just want to show you guys, and then also we've been just stuck on, I could probably unstuck us from doing our text to voice to text system right now. Yeah, Steve, if you have any questions or if you want to say more about Notebook LM or Perplexity, go for it. Turn your mic. Go for it. Hi.
I've not used Google Meet.
Cool.
So yeah, so I at the moment what I do is I take loads and loads of documents.
Yep.
Loads of documents from companies, and then dump them all into Notebook LM, and then create training things from it. But I also use Perplexity to check it, and a lot of times I use Perplexity, and you don't need any documents to put into Notebook LM because Perplexity produces it all anyway. It's ridiculously good. But I just like the whole idea from the boardroom thing of all these new things coming out. I start looking at them, and you go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Where
what I want to do is just be able to say, do you know what? I want to be able to do X. I'm very, very good at Midjourney. I used ChatGPT until I was bored with it. So, because I used to be a writer as well. So I want to get back into coding. I like NA10 or whatever you call it.
Yep.
I like Python and all that sort of stuff. So literally this weekend I joined. So I'm still trying to get my head around school. basically.
Okay.
It just seemed very messy.
Okay. You mean like our AI Profit Boardroom school, or like school and
Yeah, the actual thing. And I understand. I'm starting to see the patterns now. I'm autistic, so I find it sometimes difficult.
same. I think a lot of us on the call probably are, at least on some level.
So hopefully I'll get something out of it. I keep trying not to buy things. That's a problem.
Yeah. I've expressed this before. I try to use this. I don't know if it's a rule or a guideline, because I think AI has the shiny object syndrome, rabbit hole syndrome, right? Where it's like, oh, shiny object, let me just go down this rabbit hole for 10 hours. And then you kind of come out and you're a little bit delirious. And it's like, what was I even following there? What was even the purpose? And, it does become difficult to stay focused, I think. And especially like these, they talk about how like the app developers develop apps to make them addictive, or like food developers, right? Like they have food scientists who try to make the food addictive. The way that they come out with new AI updates, I feel like makes AI addictive, at least to me, right? Where it's just like, oh, here's something new. Oh, Nano Banana, the new Nano Banana's out. I was just getting used to the old Nano Banana. Oh, and now we have Gemini, or we have GPT-5, 5.1. I gotta try this out. And then, but what I like to tell people is you try to do the 80-20 rule, where have your main project that you're working on that like, provides value, that is going to give an ROI, that is for your clients, that like is your bread and butter that you can stick to, and work on that 80% of the time. Then 20% of the time, I used to do the 90-10, but 90-10 I feel like was getting a little too restrictive. Then 20% of the time, allow yourself, okay, this is my allotted time to experiment with new tools, to try out new stuff. Because I think, and we all see this, that like the new tools, they just look so enticing, but at least half of them are not doing what they say they're going to do. Or like the demo looks cool, and then when you try it out, it's like, you are getting value out of testing it out, but I think that there should be like a cutoff before you spend way too much time on a tool, and then you get to the end, it's like, that really didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I've been there, done that.
Yep.
So something I am also very interested in is I've got a home lab, as in a server at home, and I run LLMs and things on that, but I want something like Notebook LM, which I can use at home, because a lot of the clients I work for, I cannot, in all honesty, upload that up into Google or Microsoft or whatever, because of what it is. So it'll most likely throw a nut. So.
Well, Notebook LM is just a RAG system, right? It's just a more refined RAG system. Are you familiar with the term RAG?
No.
Okay, so RAG is retrieval augmented generation, and that's essentially what Notebook LM is. They're just doing a easy plug and play version for you. But if you use, you said Python, right? So if you use Python, there is LangChain and Llama Index. And then if you use Perplexity, if that's your favorite LLM of choice, but also I love to use Claude to help me, or we're probably going to start experimenting with GitHub Copilot as being an AI coding agent to help out. You can build your own RAG system at home that allows you to just drop in documents and then be able to access the information from them and use them for training materials or whatever else you want to do. It is going to be a little bit more work up front than just doing Notebook LM, because it just set everything up for you. But a day or two of vibe coding, and you can have your own RAG system, your own Notebook LM. You can have your Steve LM system at home, and then you'll have more parameters to be able to fine tune, which has positives and negatives to it, right? But you could potentially get something that does work better for what you're looking for.
I do like the idea where you take a load of, like, for example, you take a load of documents on ADHD and training and whatever, and you dump that in it, and then you sit and have a conversation about it. That's something which is ridiculously young at the moment, because it's all, to me, it's all quite, it's a month or so new.
So I think that, like, if you wanted to, again, like, you could talk to Perplexity, ChatGPT, Claude, one of those, and be like, hey, I want to build my own RAG system in Python, similar to Notebook LM. What are the features of Notebook LM? How do we reproduce that in Python using Lang chain or llama index, have a back and forth with it. And then, I mean, this seems to be the AI that you're most interested in, or one of the use cases. If you do that, then you can make just even stronger systems based on, this use case that you really like. And that is so RAG is, in the last year was the year of RAG, where a lot of companies were very, very interested in RAG, and they still are. And that is probably one of this year is a little bit more agents, where people are talking about agents and using LLMs in that way. But last year was all about RAG. And the reasoning being is that, great, we have ChatGPT, we can connect to the OpenAI API, we can talk to it, but it doesn't know anything about our company. What do we do? How do we make a chatbot for our users if it doesn't know anything about our company? Oh, RAG's the solution here. This will now give it access to your company documents, to your self-help guides, whatever, or your help, your FAQs, whatever. And now you can build a chatbot that people can talk to, or now you can build something that will generate reports for you based on a knowledge base. And so I would definitely start to deep dive into RAG, and that is that's the technology behind Notebook LM.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Cool, perfect, awesome. Okay, let's go. Who do we have next? Brennan, I see you got your camera on, so you're already. Yep, and now the mic's on also. So Brennan, what brings you to AI Profit Boardroom into these coaching calls?
SEO by profession,
Okay.
but I want to learn how to use AI to make money. So right now, my chain of thought is can use AI to byte code a robot to trade for me. Based on the AI information I see, I need to upgrade my CPU, get a desktop with strong computing power so I can handle all the data and backtest, and build my own LM that can trade 24/7, something like that. So I just joined out of curiosity to see how I can better use AI to build robots to make passive income for me. Yeah.
Are you saying trade, like trade on the stock market or on the crypto market?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. I already tried some of this. So I'll give you some of my insights just to let you know a few different things. One, you don't want to use an LLM to do your trading. So an LLM...
So use the LLM to test the strategy so that I get an alpha. So once I get an alpha, then I can use the bot on VPS to do trading.
Right. And the LLM can help you work on your strategy, or help you design the coding for your strategy. But the strategy needs to be based, because I've seen stories about this where people are using ChatGPT to do trading for them, and then they lose all their money, and there's that's not the point of ChatGPT. It's not to be it'll tell you it knows what it's doing at all times. For sure, whatever you come up with, do back testing and validate the answers. And one is, there are a lot of good historical databases that you can use. Some of them you are going to possibly need to pay for, and so part of what you need to figure out is, do you want to do long-term, medium-term, or short-term trading? The problem with doing say day trading is that you need to get the price information, or all the information, right? Not just price, but all the different aspects that go into it for 5-minute increments. And the data for that is just a huge amount of data, right? So it's not even just your CPU, GPU, but also storing all of that data becomes extremely weighty and difficult. And so, figuring out what time horizon you want to do it with, not overfitting to your data, and really, challenging, the different sort of solutions that people have out there, trying to combine them all. But if you just combine way too many solutions together, then you just make solution mush, and you don't really get anything that's useful. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to spend time on something and you are interested in it, figuring out a way to get a trading bot that will trade for you and make you passive income is not the worst idea. But it is, I would say, really validate your findings before you put any money into it, right? And then even before, and this is what I talk about for automation in general, you want to find the trading strategy, figure out what the alpha is, and then maybe trade by hand yourself to begin with, just so that you are human in the loop, or use a small amount of money to begin with. just so that you know that it is trading properly and you don't just like put your money in, you have this bot, it trades and has no stop, like sort of safety nets to it or guardrails, and then it just trades all your money away and you lose it all, right? And so it is a little bit more dangerous than I guess some of the other usages that people have for AI. Did you say that you're an SEO?
Yes, I'm an SEO. Yeah.
Are you
I met
familiar with
Julian in
AEO?
Chiang Mai last year. Yeah.
Are you familiar with AEO?
AEO is in flux, so it's nobody have the certain formula for it. So everybody is just trying and testing.
Yeah.
So currently now there's AI overviews, but in like 9 to 12 months, AI mode will be the default. So based on the latest Ahrefs studies, AI mode and AI overviews, there's only 1.5% overlap. So now you have to play with two algorithms instead of just.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Well, good luck on your trading journey. I mean, I guess if you figure out that great alpha, and then I think you can also like sell it, or you can have subscribers to your alpha and make even more money off of that. That's another way to go with it. But yeah, that's awesome. Okay. We don't get too much. I'll say we're not going to do too much probably about actual trading. I don't think, but potentially we can give you some of the surrounding skill sets to help you with that. Cool. Awesome. And then James Deloney, the boardroom virgin. Do you want to jump? Oh, there you are. Got you with the hat on and everything. Okay. What brings you to AI Profit Boardroom, and what are you looking to get out of it?
I am in Austin, Texas. It's cold outside. I just walked the dogs. It's in the 40s. Texas is cold as shit. I'm a real estate broker. I have been a residential real estate broker for over 10 years. I am very interested in using AI to build workflows to handle residential real estate transactions. I built a pretty robust application on Replit that I've got deployed on Railway that automates the contract process. And so I'm at a point where I'm ready to do a couple of things. One, bolt on a custom GPT that will allow you to interact directly, basically have a conversation with the contract to gain insights. Building out the database to collect transactional data so that you can then bolt on an LLM to build, to gain insights and be able to then translate those insights and offer those to the user, and then use N8N to build some different workflows that can process the transaction all the way from contract to closing. There's a lot of tedious work that goes into the transaction process in real estate. There's a lot of inefficiencies. So hopefully I can build some agents to create and build in some efficiencies and ideally have the workflow managed from beginning to end through basically one platform.
That's cool. So it sounds like you've already made some progress in this. You do have something that's generating contracts for you, and now you're looking to be able to communicate with those contracts.
It's a beast. You have to use the contracts have to be pixel perfect because they're a legal contract. So I had to learn how to generate pixel perfect PDFs from basically a questionnaire, which was kind of fun. And then DocuSign integration. There's a lot that I'm learning. But I'm at the point where I'm really excited about learning N8N and learning the workflow process. I'm using Llama Parse to do a lot of what I've kind of built on the back end. I think Llama Parse, I hopefully can take what I've learned and use Llama Parse to speed up a lot of that. Rather than having to hard code all the contract JSON mapping, or JSON mapping, I'd like to be able to automate that.
Cool. Have you been playing with N8N's prompt to build system?
I have not. I don't even have a subscription to N8N yet. So
okay.
That's next.
Yeah. I would suggest trying that out, especially if you're going to go on this N8N journey. The prompt to workflow is pretty cool. I think that at this stage, no matter what, you should probably be using prompt to workflow. So you get 50 prompts a month when you subscribe. The subscription is not that big of a deal, especially if you are going to start getting, I feel like even, in that first month, even if you don't get a workflow out of it, the training you can get if you're going to be using it, if you're going to be putting in 5 to 10 hours a week is worth the 20. And then so you'll get 50 prompts a month where you can ask it to build you something. It is pretty good. It's not going to be perfect. Our Thursday coaching calls, I do N8N and I use prompt to workflow in those. And you do need to be updated to one of the newer versions. I just need to, like, in your settings, make sure you're on a newer version. I think if you just start N8N now, I don't know if it'll start you on the oldest version or the newest version, but you'll know that you have the access, because when you open up a new blank workflow, you should have 2 squares in the middle. One that just says like start building, and then another one that says start building with AI. And then I will use Claude to generate my prompt that I'll put into the prompt to workflow. You have 1,000 character limit, or at least you used to. And so you want to make sure that when you're asking to whatever LLM you're asking to have you generate your prompts for you, put that 1,000 character limit in there. And then I do suggest breaking up your workflow into pieces and maybe building it in pieces. So like, even if there's going to be, say, 5 main sort of real components to it, even though there's probably going to be like, say, 12 or 15 nodes, with start nodes and like, other sort of formatting nodes. There's really going to be those 5 main portions, taking it one portion at a time and really like prompting through one portion at a time. And it'll be pretty good. Like all AI, I've never had it just generate me a perfect workflow right off the bat.
Use Markdown in your prompts?
Not really, no. I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't, like, this prompt is just a conversational prompt. I don't even know if you can put a Markdown file in there. And then I don't know if like the Markdown formatting will do anything for you, seemingly. But yeah, I can't think of like any time when I've used Markdown in any of my prompts, really. Do you use Markdown in your prompts?
I'm being trained. I'm in another program, and
Yeah.
there's a whole framework, but yes, they ultimately, like the large meta prompts, have a lot of Markdown in them.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in one of those classes today, and at some point I'll show you what they're doing.
Awesome. Oh, and then, so this is you. Oh, not Steve. He's using AI to create YouTube shorts. Okay. Cool. So yeah, we actually have a few different, I feel like real estate agent is one of the top professions of the people that we get on the coaching calls in an AI profit portal. I guess you real estate folks love the idea of using AI. One of the ideas that we have talked about that gets batted around is this concept that I have of using AI to create sort of promotional videos and photos for people. So like, where if they're interested in a house, you use like Nano Banana or something like that to put images of them and their family in that house and then share that with them. And it's like, hey, look, this is what it looks like for you guys to be cooking dinner or to like enjoying, because they always, I don't know if I can see myself in that house or see like everyone talks about seeing themselves in the house. It's like, here you go. You can see yourself in the house now. And I wonder if that is going to become one of these new features that people start doing when AI becomes like even more part of our everyday life, where it's just like, yeah, if you want to see yourself in your house, this is you and your family in the house. What do you think with furniture, right? Like, this is how you would decorate it. This is what the house would actually look like with you and your decorating choices in it.
It's a cool idea.
Okay, who do we have up next? Thank you for joining, James. Hopefully we can help you. Boom. Chris Smith, also new. Chris, do you want to hop on the mic?
I have network issues, but I have messaged in the group.
Okay, let's see what I got in the group. Okay, you are in the business of organizing highly technical knowledge sharing sessions, mainly in US and Europe, as well as a few other markets. Join this to see how it can help grow the business and also to personally stay updated with all the tools available to increase my product. So you have highly technical knowledge sharing sessions. Interesting. And so you guys share AI knowledge, I guess, if that's right.
So basically,
yeah,
we have conferences on different industries: oil and gas, automotive, clean energy, lithium, biopharma, biomedicine, agriculture, water utilities, stuff like that. I'm not sure how I can benefit out of this, but we are trying a lot of new things, and with AI evolving like crazy in the last few years, if we don't keep up with it, we will get lost. I mean, we'll be nowhere. So just trying to understand how we can improve ourselves and what tools can we use to be better in than the competition.
Awesome. Yeah. No, and I would say like if you look at all those different industries, so AI used to be its own industry in a way, and then now it's just in every industry. And some of them are slower to adopt. Some of them have more obvious use cases. A lot of them, have regulations of some sort or stakeholders that are slowing things down. But if you look at the different solutions that people are using or that we're going to be talking about here, you can apply them to every industry that you're talking about. And again, like some of them are going to be slower to adopt them. Or even figure out how to utilize AI for their use cases in the best way. But like you said, this is exploding like crazy, and it is going to be a non-linear adoption where there's going to be a lot of interest in adoption. There's going to be a lot of pilot testing. There's going to be a lot of failure in that pilot testing. And then we're going to have reactions to those failures, and then updates. And, I think at first there is going to be a lot of wheels spinning, people chasing their tails, bad ROI. But in 5 or 10 years, all of the discussions that we're having now, you will see be completely, it may be faster. Like I think like that 5 or 10 year timeline makes sense for other technologies. I move so fast, but is it moving fast in that adoption way, in that real use case type of way? We're still having issues with that, I feel like. But awesome to have you here. Hopefully we can give you more insights on how AI is going to be utilized by professionals and business owners, and how that can be applied across industries.
Who asks, I'm not sure if this is going to be covered, but one thing I just heard earlier about LLMs. That's something new for me. But
Yep.
Would we have any sessions on LLMs and how we can set one up? And second is, a lot of our work is research based to find out what topics are the need of the hour for that particular industry. How do we, or which tools should we use to be up to date with the research work, and as per that, update our website, our content, the agenda and everything, so that more people would be benefited out of attending those sessions?
Cool. Okay. LLM. So I would say a few different things. One is, we have the past coaching call recordings, and those you might want to take a look at, because I know that I did one on LLMs as more of just like an overview, like a presentation. I don't know if we have set up, I can't think of a time when I don't think we have set up local LLM. That could be an interesting Tuesday call. And again, maybe I need to start making the Tuesdays and the Fridays the same thing. Just because there's a lot of hands-on. Tuesday is very hands-on, where I'm showing people how to like really build something. And then Fridays is more of a presentation, like a lecture presentation. I've been running out of lecture presentation ideas, but then my pile of things I want to show people how to use is just growing and growing. And so we may need to just start to expand that to Friday. And as I mentioned when I was talking to Steve, I wanted to do a Notebook LM coaching call, but I could probably do one that does both, where it's Notebook LM and setting up your own LLM, maybe using something like Olama or something like that to set it up on your local machine. But yeah, if there is more interest in setting up your own local LLM, we can definitely do a hands-on vibe coding. This is how you would do it, best practices for getting it to work. I will say that like either you need to have a fairly fast GPU to get it to respond in realish time. I think there are setups to make it so that it will respond no matter what. It'll just be painfully slow if you're working on a regular computer. Or you could set it up in something like Google Colab. I've done coaching calls on that before, on how to use Google Colab. They have free versions of that or paid versions where it's still in your controlled ecosystem, but you're using a cloud computing resource. So yeah, we'll probably do some more LLM stuff in the future, but take a look at some of the past coaching calls and see if any of those can get you some more LLM information. Okay, yeah, cool. And then using AI to create YouTube shorts with the objective of getting monetized. Okay, Steve, so on that, we are doing I've done some previous coaching calls. If you look at the last set of N8N coaching calls, they have been about using, setting up image generators and then image and video generators to create basically your B-roll insert shots. And then we've also been working on setting up N8N to do 11 Lab scripts and then turning that into HeyGen videos. Although I am starting to not like HeyGen as much because I am subscribed to it, and the entry-level subscription doesn't really get you that much. It's not really what I want. And then in our last coaching call, while I was waiting for the N8N prompt to build to happen, I looked up and there is an open source HeyGen alternative to use that I also want to start playing with and showing off on the coaching call, because for the longest time I felt like AI Avatar was one of the AI models that they just really didn't have an open source version of. But if there is a good open source AI Avatar system, then that's probably the one where it's those costs can can be pretty pricey, and if you can just set it up and run it on your own home station, then that might be a much better solution than paying HeyGen to get watermarked videos. Okay, we'll get to a few more introductions of people, maybe some of our more shy people who haven't thrown something in here yet. Really quick, does anybody who's not new, have any questions, just so that it's not just a newbie intro day? Anybody who's been here? Russell, yep. All right, Russell, what's your question?
Yeah, hey, thanks for being here, Jeff, and helping us out. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
I'm just I wanted to find some of the previous sessions, and I'm looking for them on the school site, but I can't find these previous sessions. A couple times I've been on the road. One of them you engaged in you just mentioned the HeyGen thing that you experienced. I found that very fascinating, that roadblocks that you ran into, and if you're running into them, we're going to run into them. So I want to follow you on that. And but I want to go back. Where do I find legacy meetings? How do I get to it? I just can't find it.
Okay, this is not a perfect solution, but okay, yeah, here we go. This is for everybody because they just sent me this for one of my more recent coaching calls. And I think that if you go here, yeah, so Aaron just dropped something. I'm dropping another link in here. Are we dropping in the same link? Maybe. No, slightly different. But I think each one of us dropped a different coaching call, or I just dropped one of the most recent coaching calls. But then if you see on the side, it gives you coaching calls for the last few months. So then that's good. And then just for everybody else about HeyGen. So HeyGen, as I keep on, if you're not familiar, is an AI avatar generation system that will allow you to generate basically like an AI spokesperson, and you can just tell them what to say and then they'll do it. The issues that, just to go over, what I ran into, Russell, is that they have all of these different AI avatars on there and different ones you can create your own AI avatar. You cannot use all of those avatars. There's only a small, I don't know how big the number is, but there's a limited number of avatars you can actually use. And so if you're it seems like, oh, look at all these different people. I could use all of them. You can't. There's a limit. And the way I figured it out is we're having all these problems on the N8N call. If you see the last Thursday's call, you'll see me going through this, and it's just dude, this isn't working. This isn't working. Why does it keep on saying that this avatar ID is no good? And then I instead, and sometimes I'll do this, is test things out, because I can't tell with N8N what's going on sometimes. But all of these APIs were built for you to initially use code to do it. So I had Claude vibe code out connection to their API, and it kept on saying no, these avatars were no good. And so then it gave me this diagnostic script where it went through and it showed all the available AI avatar IDs, and it's a much more limited, and the format of the ID names were even different. And so then once I did that and I used one of the avatar IDs that was actually good, then it did generate me a video. And so that was a big problem. And I've been running into this a lot, where these AI solutions and these AI tools will tell you all of these cool things they can do with it. both like in the open source and in the APIs. And they'll say, oh, you could do this and that. They show you all these great things. And then you sign up and they're like, oh, this will be free, or you can use this. They're on their platform and you're just banging your head around. Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And finally, when you do find the solution, or you do find that right blog post or whatever, you realize, oh, they're not telling me how limited I'm allowed to use this, or that, you have to pay, you have to be on their enterprise, plan, or you have to be on the really expensive plan to be able to do all of the super cool stuff. If you want to do all the great stuff, you have to pay extra money. Or, with the open source ones, it's like, oh, well, like this works for very select examples, but then if you try something outside of that example, then it's not going to work at all. So, and this is the problem with AI. It's extremely powerful. It's great. It's going to and is revolutionizing the present and the future, but it is also a bunch of people who are trying to make a name for themselves or are trying to get market share, and at times are selling you, what would you say? Not what they'll be able to do. And then again, like that's part of the reason why I do like these coaching calls, is that we can sometimes get through the signal through the noise, right? Where again, like something like, I feel like, two of the biggest things that people presented to me here was using it's Gamma, and then the other one is, I forget, it's the Gamma competitor. But basically these services, because now I'm just using Gamma instead of the other one, where it'll generate PowerPoint slides for you or presentations and things like that. And they're pretty good. It's got some issues with it, but you pay the money and you get your decks. That's what I use to generate our presentations on Friday. And it's like, okay, like that's good and that's cool and that works. But I can easily see the same thing. Like if you ask, and sometimes ChatGPT will offer, like, because that's what I'll do, is I'll have ChatGPT create all of the slide content. I'll check it over, and then I'll have it actually generate the nice looking slides in Gamma. GenSpark is the other one. Sorry, I forgot the name. But then ChatGPT will offer, it's like, oh, here, I'll make PowerPoint slides for you. Never fall for that. No matter how excited ChatGPT seems to make you PowerPoint slides, it is a bad idea. It makes the ugliest PowerPoint slides I've ever seen. Like little kids can make better PowerPoint slides than ChatGPT can.
Jeff, can I ask you a quick question? I just want to ask you, when building, do you consider building inside of like a VM? Because I'm tempted to get with Google Cloud and just build these things within a VM. Maybe you could speak on, because just like the HeyGen issue, and there's many other complicated processes. And speaking also to the other realtor in Texas, by the way, I lived in Dallas and I'm a realtor here in Orange County. We should talk, but the complicated processes I have, like James does, they require more space, more control, more open source type resolves because of your experiment that you were describing. Does it make sense to try to build locally right on my machine, or do I do it in a VM is my question?
Depends on what you're doing, right? So like if you are using API calls, so like something with HeyGen, you can't just do it with your local machine, because HeyGen is the one that's processing all of the material, right? And the same thing, if you're using OpenAI's API or Anthropic or Perplexity's APIs, you just build it all from your local machine because of that. But I think this is what maybe you're asking about. If you're using open source models, right? You're going to Hugging Face and you're getting Llama to run your LLMs or Mistral to run your LLMs. As I said, like I found this open source HeyGen alternative to use that instead. You are going to need a pretty fast GPU to do it. And they actually have, for everything I just said, and then even the video generation ones, you can find usually quantized models, which is basically they'll put out their big production model, and then they'll do a version where they've made it smaller using what they call quantization, so that it can run on more consumerish based GPUs. And really, they have GPUs out there that are like $600 to $800. That if you install those, that'll get you pretty far with a lot of this stuff, right? If you don't want to do that, then yes, if you are doing open source models, then you need to start finding a cloud VM solution of some sort. because some of them will just crash your machine, or they will run so slow that it'll drive you nuts. And it's like, yeah, like I need to start paying for this somehow. And you do have a few different options. So there is, and then there's also Google Colab, right? And so everybody who has a Gmail account has Google Colab. Google Colab will give you like a few hours a day of access to their GPUs, and their free GPU, I think, is 12 gigs. I'm pretty sure. And again, like 12 gigs will get you pretty far with a lot of this stuff, although some of the higher end models will be too much for that. And then if you pay them, it's like $1 an hour, maybe, to run on their system for their better GPUs. Maybe it's cheaper. Maybe it's more like 10. It's somewhere between 10 cents and $1. I would say something like that. It's probably not 10 cents anymore. I feel like their prices have gone up. I mean, it depends on the GPU that you're using. They have some like super powerful ones. One of the issues with using Google Colab, though, is that in between sessions, all of the memory, all of the storage goes away, right? So whatever you're storing in there gets erased from your Google Colab session. Now, the workaround or a potential solution for that is that your Google Colab account is connected to your Google Drive account. So you could save everything on Google Drive and then have it load everything temporarily in that Google Colab session. That works for a lot of different solutions where you save everything into Google Colab, into your G Drive, and then you set it up so that when the session starts up, it pulls everything out of G Drive. And because Colab and G Drive are connected to each other, essentially, it goes pretty quickly. Different than like uploading something online. Like it's already online. It just needs to move from one space to another. And so that's an option. But yes, if you're going to start doing more open source work and you either don't have the resources to, like, you're not interested in investing in an $800-ish graphics card, then you should probably start working with Colab or some other online solution to work with these open source models.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Yep. Anybody else have a question for Q&A day? And then if not, I'm going to start embarrassing more people who just, not embarrassing, putting you on the spot, getting you to communicate. Communication is key. It's one of the best business skills you can have. Anybody else have a question who's been here for a while? Although we have so many new people, I feel like it's a much smaller percentage have been here for a while. Okay, no questions, or nobody's quick enough to turn on their mic to ask a question. Let's go through. So we talked to Brendan, we talked to Chris. Chris is on here twice. Ed's been here for a while. What's up, Ed? Keith, do you want to turn on your mic? Keith, are you new?
Yes, I am new. I just joined yesterday.
Amazing.
I have been teaching at the high school level for a couple years, and actually maybe 14 years altogether. And I've been using AI for the last 2 years to generate lesson plans and material for presentations and everything. And with the development of so many different things, but I've been really using Notebook LM for quite a while now. And over the last even week or two, they've added so many more features to it. What I really want to do is develop a training so that I've taught myself so many things, and I want to get students interested. They need to know how to use AI properly, not as a cut and paste thing, not as, I prefer to call AI augmented intelligence. It definitely is a tool to help people. There are so many things that you can do. You can take, and I do pay for Notebook. I can take 300 sources, throw it into a notebook, and then query that notebook. I'll make mind maps. They've now come up with the latest thing was they actually are generating fairly nice slide decks using Nano Banana to really create some interesting slide decks. But I also use Perplexity and Claude. I'm in the science area, and I found Claude is one of the better LLMs for scientific information. But I have used ChatGPT and others. So it's like I have a toolbox full of tools. I want to learn how to use those tools to build something and also monetize it, because I'm now retired and I'd like to be able to work from home and monetize what I'm doing. And AI is definitely, it's going to change everything. And if somebody gets out of school and don't know how to use AI, they're just going to be really behind the curve. So That's what I'm trying to do. And when I saw this, and like I said, I just joined yesterday. I'm already just really appreciative of everything that it's being done, the information that's being put here, and actually helping me to, I think, put together something. You know, the shiny new thing is so easy to get distracted. Really need to focus and really build something that's useful and actually can bring in some income from my wife and I.
That's okay. I love that. I used to do a lot of teaching. I was like an after-school tutor for a while. I taught for Kaplan, and you know, it's tough with middle school, high school students. I have a daughter, and she's my daughter, so she's very bright. But like, I've been trying to get her interested in AI, and she's just so not interested. And I feel like I'm doing a disservice. I might have to like force her to start using AI, which seems strange, but like, if you think about it, and I know that there are teachers across the country that will like possibly recoil when I say this, but it is much better for us to be teaching students AI than say cursive handwriting, right? But then I know some people love cursive handwriting, think that it's extremely important. I don't understand the reason why we teach it at all anymore. And like you were saying, that like AI should be an intelligence augmenter, AI, IA, right? And too often people are using it as an intelligent substitute, like you're saying, where they do copy and pasting. And I like to compare ChatGPT to a lot of different things. I think that it makes a lot of sense to compare it to Google, to compare it to YouTube, and to compare it to Wikipedia, right? And when Wikipedia first came out, or the thing that people started to push back against was students who would just copy the Wikipedia entry and then submit that as an essay, right? And there was this, like a lot of teachers would say you can't use Wikipedia whatsoever, right? And really now that's ridiculous for the most part, right? Like people definitely use Wikipedia in doing research, and it's like, and it's the degree in which you use Wikipedia, right? Where either it is one of your sources, or it's what leads you to your sources, right? It is the best way to find the sources on a topic and be able to write a better paper, right? So you can see how keeping people from using Wikipedia now makes no sense. If they use it the wrong way, where they just copy and paste the Wikipedia page, that's terrible. But it is such a great resource for somebody to be able to write a great research paper. And then the same thing is true with ChatGPT, right? Or Perplexity or Claude, where if they use it as an augmenter, then you know that can really help them out. Whereas if they're just using it as a substitute, that's a problem. I do wonder if there is possibly a content solution for you, where like you could be generating solutions for students and teachers either through a YouTube channel or a blog or both, right, on sort of responsible usage of AI in, you know, as a high school student, or like projects that high school students can do, because it really is one of these things where we are going to be so behind on this. We're going to do all these kids a disservice, and they should be using AI in a responsible way, because pretty soon that is either going to be their only solution or their best solution for getting ahead in this world. And we're not doing it at the high school level. We're not doing it at the college level. And on some level, it's just not fair. And we're going to be the ones who, you know, we're going to have those repercussions, because the society is not going to be as productive as it can be. But I can speak way, way, way too long on AI and education. We are up for time today. Tomorrow is the Dr. Jeff special. I think what I'm going to try to do is definitely we need to finish off this speech-to-text, text-to-speech agent system. We do have a lot of new people here, so if we have the same number of new people tomorrow, I'll do an overview of it so you can get some, at least see some of what we're doing in vibe coding, and setting up a system where basically what it did was it created a script, and then it created speech from that script from 11 labs, and then we've been troubleshooting having I think I did get it to understand my voice the last time around. Yes, at the very end of our last coaching call, I was able to use DeepGram to understand what I was saying, and I just wanted to tie it all together so that it would understand what I was saying, take that, and then generate a script from that, and then use that to respond to me with the speech generator. So we'll be doing that. But then, as I said, I really probably want to get into a notebook LM and a setting up your own LLM. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that tomorrow as well. If not, the next coaching call on Tuesday. Thank you everybody for being here. Love to see all the new faces and new avatars. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy AI and automation, and try not to fall down too many rabbit holes with shiny object syndrome. I know it's impossible. I can't stop myself, but maybe you guys can.